And even if you don't end up having a global pandemic with your year, I don't think anyone thinks they're gonna have a global pandemic with your year. Yeah. It's that time. It's my back to school series. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm finally gonna be starting my back to school series. This year's back to school series is not gonna be as long. I used to try and do back to school series videos from like the beginning of July all the way up till the end of August. But I think this year it's gonna be at most 2 videos and that's gonna be it. But yeah, as you can tell from the title, I'm gonna be giving some high school senior advice / IB year 2 advice. But this advice is honestly applicable to anyone of any grade, whether you're a freshman, a sophomore, a junior, or senior. All these tips, I feel like if you just know them, they'll help you, so don't click out if you are not the class of 2021. But yeah, these are all just tips that personally helped me out. I feel like me following all of these tips made my year better than it could have been. Like, my year wasn't as bad as it would have been if I didn't do all these things, if that makes any sense. Before we get started with this video, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below of what year you're gonna be going into, or if your school calendar is January to December. Let me know what year you're in right now. If you guys are new, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get notified every single time I post a video. I try to post videos 3 times a week, but if I don't, I post twice. But I will be announcing a new upload schedule next week, Saturday, because I will be starting to prepare to start my first year in university. So I'm not gonna have as much time on my hands. So I'm gonna need to reduce the uploading schedule a little bit. But yeah, without any further ado, let's get started with this video. So my first tip that I have is more of like a shorter tip, and then the rest will go into more detail. But the first overarching tip that I have is do not limit the amount of time that you have to socialize. This is pretty much your last year of high school, or even if you're just starting high school, make the most of the time that you have. But with that being said, don't be irresponsible and use only all your time to socialize. What I'm saying is don't restrict yourself with the amount of times that you can go out and hang out with your friends and all that, because honestly, I regret doing this so much in my senior year, because if I knew there was gonna be a global pandemic, then I would have probably done everything differently in my first semester, because now I had to go the rest of my year without having my senior trip, having a prom. At least we managed to have a graduation, but I wish I just did things a whole lot differently. So yeah, literally just make the most of your time at high school. I wouldn't go as far as to say high school is the best 4 years of your life, because I definitely don't agree with that statement. But I do feel like it could be one of the highlights of your life, but not the best part of your life. Just try and make the most of it, but don't be irresponsible. The second section of this video is gonna be college applications. Let me tell you, this part of my senior year, which is pretty much this time last year up until December, was pretty much stressful. I say stressful because I wanted to do architecture, and that's what I had researched for architecture. And then when I was about to start my applications, I had a breakdown, and then I decided to switch to computer science completely randomly. So the base tip that I can give you is to start your research early. I know like college application, like the whole process thing and the application stuff open like beginning of October, end of October, something like that. But I would start your research process early. Like, I started my research process the day that we got into school. I remember we got a new guidance counselor, so literally as soon as the first day of school ended, I went straight to her office and I just started working on applying to college, like doing all of my research. If I keep looking down, I'm just like looking at my bullet points. But basically what I did was I made a template and I duplicated it for every single school that I had, or if I had one school and I had more than one program of study, I had like 2 separate documents, but then there'll be different programs of studies. Basically, I just recorded all the information, like a brief summary of what the program is about, the tuition fees, the application process, like what exactly they want from me, and the academic requirements, so I know what grades I need to like work towards, and also the deadlines, because the deadlines are the most important part. It doesn't matter how perfect your essay is, if you don't turn it in on time, you're not going either way. And also, if you're interested in getting scholarships, make sure you look at the deadlines first. What I did was check the deadline of the scholarship before you even check the requirements for the scholarship, so that you know how much time you have before you start obsessing over, oh my god, I need to make the perfect video. You need to know like your time frame before you start obsessing over the mini details. I didn't really like say it, but what I mean is that if you know the amount of time that you have, you're able to allocate tasks for that specific time frame. Whereas if you know the specific requirements without knowing the deadline, you start overworking yourself by giving yourself more like tasks to do in order to achieve those requirements, and you you won't be able to fit them in that specific time. So by you knowing the deadline, you'll be able to work efficiently without overworking yourself. I really recommend doing this because you may have to apply using different platforms, so not all of your applications will go to the same place. I kept all of my stuff in Google Drive. I made a Google Drive folder called University Prep, and then I had a folder which was for like application information, then a folder for essays and stuff like that, or for portfolio work for things that required like design or whatever. Keeping everything all in a Google Drive folder in one place was so helpful because I had to apply either directly to the school or through OUAC or through Common App. But let's say if you're also interested in applying to the UK, you're gonna apply using UCAS. So if you're applying to different countries or if your schools have different requirements, like for example in Canada, in Ontario, you have to apply through OUAC. But then if you, let's say, want to go to UBC, you have to apply directly to the school. Just having everything organized in a Google Drive folder so that you know where everything is, and then you can just copy and paste it when you're done is so much easier. I have a video on my channel that I made during Vlogmas, and it was my whole process of me applying to college. So if you guys want to see how my experience was with the whole application process, because I personally did the whole process pretty fast and efficiently, so I wasn't like stressing out about it towards the end of the year, except I kept on procrastinating my UBC application. I kept on procrastinating like answering my questions for UBC, but besides that, I was pretty efficient. If you want to see that process, you can click the I right up over here and watch that video. But if you guys want like a detailed video of me explaining like the different application types and tips for the specific application types, I didn't do a UCAS application, but I can obviously ask my friends who did, and then they can also bring tips for like the video and I can talk about it. But I can definitely talk about Common App and OUAC. If you guys want specific tips on those types of applications, then definitely leave a comment down below and I can do it for you. They're all different. Like for example, for my Canadian schools, I didn't write a single essay, only short answer questions. I also got a bunch of questions asking me how I got into University of Toronto and how I got to University of British Columbia. So if you guys want to just have like an overall detailed college video, leave any questions that you have down below. So this next tip is my final tip before I go into the IB side of senior year, but this is the biggest tip that I can give you to prevent senioritis. Try to stay busy. So you can try to either be social, like what I mentioned at the beginning, or you can continue being involved in like sports or clubs, or you can also just try to consistently revise and study, like either by yourself or in like study groups or whatever, and also attend tutorials, because always having something to do is the biggest thing that will help you prevent having senioritis. This is because if you're lazy or you're just like sitting around and you're like doing your work and that's it. So like let's say you do your work at school, you come home, you do your homework, and then you're just done. You're gonna fall into senioritis so quickly because you're just gonna be repeating the same thing over and over again and nothing is gonna be like switching it up, and then you're just gonna want the year to end even quicker and you just want to get out of high school because it's just boring. So keeping busy just keeps you on your toes and maintains excitement in your daily life basically. But with that in mind, do not overwhelm yourself. If you need to like rest because you're feeling overwhelmed, rest. But I'm saying that don't only have school and then not do anything else, because if you keep yourself busy, you're not gonna get bored and you're not gonna fall into the rut of senioritis as quickly. But also remember that senioritis is inevitable, but me doing this tip just helped me prevent getting senioritis until like the last 2 to 3 months of my senior year. But I was able to get through the entire first semester and then like the beginning half of second semester without it. So I recommend this tip. Now we're moving on to the IB year 2 tip. And if you're in IB year 1, I definitely recommend that you watch this because some of these tips kind of link back to my video that I posted last year, which was my junior advice / IB year 1 advice. So yeah, IB year 1 is definitely listen. IB year 2, definitely listen. So my first tip is that I hope you listened to my IB year 1 advice video and did most, if not all, of your extended essay over the summer. I cannot stress how much this was helpful to me because you have more time to refine your essay. You'll be trying to improve your essay without worrying about actually having to write it because you already have the content on a page. You just need to make it sound better. I managed to write my whole essay besides my conclusion because I suck at those. And then I got a lot of detailed feedback from my supervisor. And with your single meeting where you get your detailed feedback, you get a lot of information. And then also because now I had more time, I was able to pop in and ask her one-off questions every time, and my essay kept on getting better and better and better. Because like I was able to be like organized and finish my essay quickly, with my first draft, she said, this is gonna be like a high D / low C. But then after doing all my feedback and all of that, and then after receiving my IB results like a couple weeks ago, I ended up going from that high D, low C to getting a B from the IB with 1 mark of getting an A, which I'm so salty about. But anyways, my second tip is do not underestimate the IA. I feel like every IB year 2 student of class of 2020 can agree with me on this tip, because the IA pretty much determined our final grade along with like a number generator that the IB used, but we won't talk about that. All I'm saying is that you never know what could happen, and then your IA would end up being externally assessed by a different teacher instead of internally assessed by a teacher that you know. Because if I'm gonna be honest, if your IA is internally assessed, the teacher is one way or another gonna have some kind of bias towards you. 9 times out of 10, that bias is gonna push your grade up. When it's now being externally assessed by somebody else who doesn't know you, your grade is gonna be lower than what you were given by the teacher that knows you personally. Just make sure that when you're doing your IA, it's good enough that if someone else was to grade it that doesn't know you, it will still be a good grade and it won't drop as much as most of the IAs did this year. My third and final tip is one that I also really recommend, because me not doing this did me dirty for my IB results this year since we didn't take exams. But it is to treat your mock exams like they are the real thing. I don't care how much you say, no, it's just a mock exam, I'll get myself together by the time we have the actual exams. Well, look what happened to me. So our teachers had to make a predicted grade of what we would get for the final results. That's what the IB asked from the teachers for like the final things. The IB were just assuming that we were gonna get those for the exam, which is stupid. Our teachers based their assumption of what we would get on the exam from our mock exams. So most of us weren't trying our best at all, because we had the mentality where we're like, obviously in the exam time I would have studied more, I would have myself together. Well, looky here, we didn't get a chance to write the exams, and then that class which I know I could have probably gotten a 6 or a 7 in, and then in my mock exam I got like a 4 or a 5. Now the teacher's gonna say she's gonna get a 4 on that exam. And even if you don't end up having a global pandemic with your year, I don't think anyone thinks they're gonna have a global pandemic with your year. Okay, let's assume you don't have a global pandemic and everything goes back to normal. Treating your mock exams like the real thing is gonna be good practice. And if you end up in this situation that we are, where a pandemic happens and then you can't take your exams anymore, you won't be as screwed as we were. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. This officially marks the end of my high school advice series, which I started at the end of my freshman year of high school. I even made one for like middle school advice, so I basically have been doing this since the end of 8th grade. But I deleted the middle school one because I kind of exposed my school, and at the time, since I was gonna be there for like ever, I didn't want everyone to know where I went. But now I don't really care. I will be doing a university / college, whatever you call it, advice videos once I like get the hang of it, because obviously I don't know what it's gonna be like yet. But this time next year I'll be posting a first year of college advice video, and then also advice videos geared towards University of Toronto, because that whole process of like course enrollment, all of that is so confusing. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, and also leave a comment down below. Leave a comment of what year you're going into, whether that's university, high school, middle school, or what year you're currently in, if your school year is January to December. Also leave a comment down below if you're interested in the whole application process, or how to get into U of T or UBC, since those are popular schools amongst my viewers. And yeah, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get notified every single time I post a video. But yeah, I love you guys so much. I really hope this advice helps you, and yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!